Don't lose your way. Your mind, we have to be as one.
What's good, YouTube? Or Storm here, coming at you guys with another deck profile today. So it's been a hot minute since I've tested DDDs, but I finally got around to finding a build, new build for you guys. I know a lot of you guys have been asking me for an updated build. I'll personally just like to thank Ryan and Duncan for helping me out with this list. If you guys do want a more TCG oriented list with the card pool we currently have, I highly recommend checking out Duncan's combo tutorial over on Farfish channel, which I will have a link down below in the description box. That's a kind of more TCG oriented build. This build is kind of built with, because while I think DDDs can be good thanks to Electromite, without Needlefiber, the deck is kind of lacking in terms of like what it can do, at least in my opinion. Needlefiber really helps the deck, but the deck needs a little bit more. The deck without Needlefiber and Big Genghis, I honestly don't know if it's worth playing the deck. But I'm kind of building with the mindset that it's more than likely we will have both cards at some point this year. I think Big Genghis is very likely to get a be in the Battles of Legends that we're getting later this year. So anyways, well, the way we'll go ahead and get to deck profile. DDD deck profiles are fairly straightforward. Then first with 3 copies of Ragnarok. Ragnarok's probably my personal favorite DDD monster. I feel like it's the best. So Ragnarok allows you to special summon both from the Pendulum Zone and the field. From the Pendulum Zone, it's whenever you special summon a DD monster, it special summons, but your opponent takes half damage. You don't really care, and you take 1,000 damage. Again, like this deck, you will take damage. It's a given, so you kind of like, you do not really care if you're going to be beating your opponent anyways. And its monster effect is when it's normal or special summon, so you can normal summon it if your opponent happens to have you under something like, for example, Floodgate, Trap Hole, something that locks you out of summoning monsters. You can tribute them off to summon this, and that's really good. And then it can recur any DDD monster from your graveyard. It's important, like the monster that you grab has to be a DDD monster, I believe, if I haven't read Ragnarok in a very long time. But the other thing is that it can tribute any DD monster you control besides itself to banish a monster, your target opponent's monster, and banish it. This actually catches a lot of players off guard, and the deck definitely doesn't go second as effectively as a lot of decks, but it's one of the plays you can use to play around your opponent's board, and people tend to miss that effect quite often in my experience. Then 2 copies of Thomas. Thomas is really good because Electromite is a card. I've played 1 in some builds, but I've always kind of settled on 2 because I'd rather have the second one and not need it than wish I had the second one in the deck. But anyways, Thomas has a Pendulum effect to add a face-up DD Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. So you can re-add Kepler, you can re-add Copernicus and Ragnarok. Anything that's sitting, the main thing you care about is your monster effect, which allows you to pop a DD card in your Pendulum Zone and then special summon any level 8 DD monster from your deck except itself. It's a 1-card rank 8. It's a 1-card Electromite, or basically like a 2-card Electromite. Gets you to those cards you really need to get to and get a lot of your plays going. Then 3 copies of Copernicus. Copernicus is really good with Electromite because it gives you another Pendulum monster on the board. It's not entirely necessary, but I do think it's nice having more Pendulum monsters that you can use. If you open like Darkworm Copernicus, for example, you can, or if you open like Dragon Shrine and Copernicus, you can summon Darkworm and then normal summon Copernicus, and it gets all of your plays going. It's really, really good. Then 3 copies of Swirl Slime. Swirl Slime is one of the best cards in DDDs as well. It's when it's in your hand. It can be used as a fusion material to be like basically like a poly, and then but the other thing is you can banish it from your graveyard to special summon a DD monster from your hands. That really gets a lot of your plays going. You want to see this card in almost every opening hand. Then 3 Necro Slimes. I've actually seen some people debate bumping this down, but it's nice to have another DDD name in the deck to be able to like get, and worst comes to worst, it's fodder to banish off of a lure. But it allows you, it's basically like a Miracle Fusion in the grave. You can banish it in any DD monster to fusion summon. Kind of helps to get a lot of your, fusions on the board, which is really nice. Then 3 copies of Lamia. Lamia is, one of the most important cards. She is a tuner that you can constantly recur. She does have an effect to special summon herself, but she's banished when she leaves the field. but I don't really think that's a huge issue with Lamia because you have Needlefiber to get extra copies out of your deck, and it's one of the most important cards in the deck in my opinion. Then 3 Keplers. Kepler, whenever he's normal or special summon, searches your dark contracts. I don't play Swamp King in this build just because it's not as fusion heavy as a lot of my standard builds, but being able to search your main search card is really, really good. And then 2 copies of Red Resonator. This is actually a little tech card. DDDs don't really need their normal summon as much as you would think. Like, yes, Copernicus and Kepler trigger on normal summon, but you can always swirl slime them away and then recur them with other cards, and that's why Red Resonator really comes in clutch in this deck. If you open Red Resonator, you can get your Needlefiber out very easily. If you open, like, let's see, Red Resonator and Kepler or Copernicus, you can also trigger their effects. Overall, I feel like with Needlefiber, Red Resonator is a really, really good card because it's a 1 card, it gets you to Needlefiber straight away. Has another effect to gain life points, but that's not really relevant in this deck because Needlefiber doesn't let you trigger the monster. It's summoned from the deck when it hits the field. Then 2 Dark Worms and the Supreme Gate 0. 0 is mostly here because it's Electromite fodder, but it's kind of nice to have a lower scale to search. But Dark Worm kind of helps to get your Electromite plays going. It has a really good level 2 for your Evil Swarm Nightmare. It's just an all-around good card, and it's like being able to... It doesn't seem like it would fit in a deck like this, but it's still pretty decent, and having another level 4 actually really helps the deck. It's kind of like the new Armageddon Knight for the deck, if you will. Then for the spells, 3 copies of Supreme King Gate. Or Dark Contract with the Gate. Sorry, I'm getting cards confused. Gate is basically like a once per turn Stratos. Unlike all the Dark Contract, once per turn you add 1 during your main phase. You add 1 DD monster from your deck, and you take 1,000 every standby. You don't really care about taking damage with this deck to begin with, but like I don't play Swamp King because again you only have 3 fusions in the extra deck. You don't really need it, and I always kind of had a love-hate relationship with Witch because like it's a good card, but it's not really needed because we don't really have a whole lot of like floodgates that we don't have vanities anymore. It's one of the reasons it was decent because you can out vanities with it. But anyways, 3 gates, it's the only dark contract I play. I really don't think you need anything else in a build like this. The 1 Foolish Burial to send your Dark Worm to the grave and any other resource you might need. Obvious good card is obvious. Monster Reborn. I would like to find room for Soul Charge. I may cut Dragon Shrine down to 1 to make room, but I think it's a really, really good card in this deck because being able to recur any DD monster can trigger all your DDD effects is really, really solid. Then Dragon Shrines allow you to dump your Dark Worm to the grave. If you guys are playing Pendulums, this format, it's a very familiar card. Not too much to say. 2 Resonator Calls. This searches out your Red Resonator and getting to Needlefiber can get your entire engine going, and it's just a really, really good deal. The fact that it's searchable is just nuts. Then 1 Upstart Goblin and 3 Allure Darkness and 2 Pot of Desires for draw power. I don't really think it's not too much to say about these cards. I feel like they're pretty staple in most DDD lists. Nowadays, I don't really think you need the 3rd Pot of Desires, but if there's a deck I would play 3 in, it'd be something like this, where you really, really need combo pieces. Then for the extra deck, 1 copy Needlefiber. Needlefiber is rejuvenated DDDs when it was first revealed because it enables a lot of 3-card combos again, which DDDs, while a lot of the really powerful, because the thing about the transition DDDs made with Lynx is that your 3-card combos became 4-card combos, and your amazing boards became 5-card combos. You had to open absolutely perfectly. And Needlefiber really helps to cut that down to 3-card combos, get into your engine going, because it can grab a Lamia from deck. I don't run any targets to tag out into in this particular build. Formula Synchron and Wonder Magician are definitely cards you could run in the extra deck if you think you have confined space. But I think Needlefibers, I don't really think you need them, but Needlefiber is an incredible card for this deck. It really helps. Same thing goes for Electromite. Electromite is a pretty decent card in DDDs. If you can effectively search almost any DDD of the DDD Pendulum monster straight to your hand with its effect. You also have Thomas here, so like you can, for example, stack a card with Thomas, use Thomas to add it back to hand, and then use Electromite to pop Thomas to add something else back. There's just a lot of really good combos with Electromite, and it's one of the few things that's keeping the TCG build actually playable, I think. Then 1 copy of Decode Talker. It just helps to have, there's a lot of combos with DDDs now where you need a zone on the other side of the field. So what you'll do is, if you're going first, you'll link away Needlefiber or Electromite into a Decode Talker in the other extra monster zone, and that'll open up a slot for you to special summon monsters from the extra deck. There's a lot of combos where you do need a link 3. That's 2+ monsters to go off. Then for the fusions, 1 Genghis. It feels odd playing a list with only 1 Genghis, but honestly, I don't really know if the days of needing 2 are really here anymore. I don't think we're making Beatrice anymore. That's one of the reasons you would play multiple Genghis, but I just don't think that you really need. But it's still a really good card. It allows you to special summon any DD monster from your grave whenever it's one is special summoned, so it's really good. Oracle's always been, much as I like Oracle, I can't really justify a build like this playing more than 1, but the card is really good for climbing into synchro plays and being used as fusion fodder, and it can keep you from taking damage. It reverses it instead. Then 1 copy of Big Genghis. This is the card a lot of us have been waiting for. It is a really, really good card. Whenever another DD monster is normal special summon, it special summons 1 DD monster from your graveyard, so it allows you to keep going, which is one of the things the deck wants to do. It also has an effect to negate spells and traps on your turn. It's not on your opponent's turn, so it's not a traditional quickie, but it can be pretty decent if your opponent's trying to interrupt you in the middle of your plays. There are more trap cards this can negate nowadays with Torrential and Bottomless back at 3. If you happen to be in the middle of a play, you can summon this and your opponent tries Torrential, well, you can just negate that. It comes up a lot more than you would think, I think, especially with the chainable traps being better. Then for the synchros, I have 1 copy of Alexander. Alexander is basically like Genghis, except it special summons level 4 lowers. It's usually used to climb into a Crystal Wing, because if you trigger Alexander's effect, you can special summon a Lamia from the grave. Then Alexander and Lamia makes Crystal Wing, really important card. Meteor Burst has always kind of been a DDD staple to me, because you can grab Ragnarok from the Pendulum Zale, proc its effect, special summon 1 from your grave. Its battle phase negation comes up a lot of the times as well, more than you would think, honestly. The 1 Siegfried's obviously it's a quick effect to negate any spell card during your opponent's turn. What's not to like? You can also turn off your own dark contracts to prevent them from burning you. It's just a really good all-around card. Then the 1 copy of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. I feel like this has been a staple in DDD since the beginning. Since we got the structure deck, it's a really amazing card. Not too much to say. I play Hot Red Dragon Archfiend over Scarlight, because the thing with Scarlight, with Borolo Dragon as a card, DDDs don't have the easiest time dealing with it. Like, you have to make Kali Yuga or this. The problem with Scarlight is if you try to activate Scarlight's effect, Borolo will reduce its attack, and Scarlight only nukes attack that has less than or equal to it. And since it's sitting at 2500, it won't blow up the Borolo. I would prefer to play Scarlight, but because this blows up Borolo, you play this over Scarlight. Because it prevents your other monsters from attacking, but main thing is it gets you over Borolo. That's the one main thing you care about. Don't get me wrong, I love Scarlight, but I play this over Scarlight for that reason. Then 1 Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is one of the main plays your deck has going second. If you summon this and they don't have a strike, all their back row is going. It also helps to get over, sticky monsters like for example, like Borolo. And it just overall is just an amazing card. Having a quick effect Heavy Storm and Cold Wave on legs is just amazing. Then 1 Hope Harbinger. Most DDD players, you're probably pretty familiar with this card. It's really, really good. Evil Swarm Nightmare has always been a card I've noticed Duncan has tried to fit into DDDs, and it makes sense. DDDs don't have the greatest time dealing with monsters. The deck has buku spell negation. It has so much spell negation, it's ridiculous. But the deck doesn't have a whole lot of ways to deal with monsters, and that's kind of where Nightmare comes in. And it is definitely one of my favorite kind of techie rank 4s. The 1 Princess Sprite, he is mostly here. This is kind of a negotiable extra deck spot if you feel like you need another fusion, or something else you want in the extra deck, like a Needlefiber target. This is probably what can go. But the main reason I find this card definitely comes up is when you have a Lamia, but you really, really don't want to banish it. That's where this card comes in. It can dig you and most of the time, if you mill a monster, you really, really don't care, because 9 times out of 10, it's something you want in the grave, and you're digging for more combo pieces is really, really good. I've always been a huge fan of the card in DDDs, but you don't need it. It's just a really decent card. So anyways, about comes the end of the deck profile today, guys. When you guys think of my updated DDD list, down in the comment section down below. And as always, I thank you guys for watching. It's Orstorm signing out.